I was 17 and I thought I had everything under control. My secret was safe, deep in a locked box inside my chest. I was the funny, quiet kid, smart, kept to myself. My plan was simple. Finish high school, get into college, and maybe, just maybe, start living once I was far away from everyone I knew. But then came Liam. He was my best friend Jason's older brother. 21, back from his second year at college. He had tattoos I couldn't stop staring at, that cocky smile, and a lazy confidence that made everyone, guys and girls, turn their heads when he walked into a room. Liam wasn't supposed to notice me. He never had before. I was just Jace's weird little friend. But that summer, something shifted. Started small. He'd come downstairs while we were gaming and mess up my hair, ruffle it like I was a kid. But his hand lingered longer than it should. Sometimes he'd sit next to me on the couch, thighs brushing, and he wouldn't move. Or he'd catch my eye across the room and smirk, like we shared some kind of inside joke I didn't know I was part of. One afternoon, we were at the pool. Jason had gone inside to grab snacks, and I was floating on a cheap inflatable, trying to ignore how good Liam looked shirtless. He jumped in, splashed me hard, and said, "You always this quiet?" I mumbled something like, "Guess so. I think I kinda like it," he said, smiling. That night, we stayed over at their place after a movie marathon. Jason fell asleep first, typical, and I ended up downstairs alone on the basement couch. The lights were off. I was scrolling my phone when I heard someone coming down the stairs. It was Liam. "Couldn't sleep?" he asked, rubbing his eyes. "Nah," I said, my heart already pounding. He dropped onto the couch beside me. Close, like too close. I could feel the heat from his bare arm against mine. For a few seconds, we just sat in silence. Then he asked, "You ever kissed someone?" I froze. Was he teasing? Testing me? I wasn't sure what to say. "Yeah," I said quietly. "Once." He nodded. "Was it good?" "I guess," I said. "It was quick." He looked at me then, fully, like really looked. "Can I try something?" he asked. My breath caught. I nodded, and then he kissed me, just like that. No warning, no build-up, no time to panic. His lips were soft, slow, confident. It didn't feel rushed. Felt right, like it was supposed to happen. That night, everything changed. We didn't just kiss. We stayed up for hours, talking, touching, exploring. He was patient, careful, but also bold. I didn't feel scared, I felt alive, like I was finally stepping into the person I had always been. In the morning, I expected awkwardness, shame, regret, but Liam acted like nothing had happened. Gave me a casual nod over cereal, called me kid, and asked if I wanted to play Mario Kart. I didn't know what to make of it. Over the next few weeks, it happened again. 3 times. Always late. Always secret. Always ending with him pulling away, going silent, pretending the daytime version of him didn't know the night version existed. I started to fall for him. Of course I did. He was my first. My secret. My everything. Then suddenly it stopped. One weekend he went back to school early. Just disappeared. No goodbye, no explanation. I never told Jason. Years later, we ran into each other at a bar. I was out by then, comfortable in my skin. He looked the same, still hot, still cocky. We caught up briefly. He didn't mention what happened between us. But as he was leaving, he leaned in and whispered, "You were my first too, you know?" I didn't say anything, just smiled. That was the last time I saw him. And yeah, I've had other guys since. Some better, some worse. But Liam? He was the one who cracked open the door for me. Sometimes I wonder if he ever opened it all the way. Freshman year started like a cliché. New campus, new city, new freedom. I'd finally escaped my small town, where being the gay kid felt like a death sentence. I was ready to start over, to live, to maybe even find someone. I just didn't expect that someone to be my roommate. His name was Jordan. Tall, athletic, gorgeous in that annoyingly effortless way. Dark curls, hazel eyes, football player shoulders, and the kind of crooked smile that made girls giggle when he passed by. And yeah, he was straight, or so I thought. We met on move-in day. He arrived with a duffel bag, a six-pack of Red Bull, and a "What's up, dude?" like he was born to exist in a college dorm. "You cool with top bunk?" he asked, already tossing his stuff onto the bottom. "Sure," I said. I'd have agreed to anything he asked at that moment. We hit it off quickly. We weren't best friends, but we got along. He liked EDM and late-night gym sessions. I liked indie pop and pretending I went to the gym. He didn't care that I was quiet. I didn't care that he left socks everywhere. And yeah, okay, I crushed. Hard. I'd never lived in the same room as a hot guy before. He walked around in boxers, shirtless, towel around his waist. It was torture in the best and worst ways. One night, maybe a month in, we were both in our room after a party. He was tipsy. I was too. We were lying on our beds, lights off, glow from his laptop bouncing off the ceiling. "Can I ask you something?" he said suddenly. "Sure. You've hooked up with dudes before, right?" My stomach dropped. "Yeah." "Is it different?" he asked. "Like, better?" "I mean, depends," I said, trying to play it cool. "Depends on the person." He was quiet for a while. I figured the conversation was over. But then he said, "I think about it sometimes." I turned toward him in the dark. "Think about what?" "What it'd be like with a guy." My pulse went crazy. I didn't want to scare him off or say the wrong thing. So I just said, "That's normal. Doesn't mean anything unless you want it to." He sat up. "Do you think I'm attractive?" I hesitated. Then, yeah, of course. He stood up, came over to my bed, just stood there for a second, looking down at me. "Would you kiss me?" he asked. I nodded. My throat was dry. My whole body was buzzing. He leaned down. Our faces were inches apart. I could smell his cologne, feel the warmth of his breath. And then, slowly, he kissed me. It wasn't like my past hookups. It was softer, hesitant, curious, like he was exploring a side of himself he'd never let out before. We kissed for a long time. No talking. Just hands, lips, breath. Eventually, he pulled back. "Was that okay?" "More than okay," I said. He smiled, shook his head like he couldn't believe himself, and crawled into bed. We didn't talk about it the next day, or the next, but something shifted. He got more touchy, sat closer, teased more. When we watched movies, he'd rest his head on my shoulder. Sometimes, he'd let his hand brush against mine and just leave it there. One night, he climbed into my bed without saying a word, just pulled the blanket over both of us and wrapped an arm around me. "I don't know what this is," he whispered. "It doesn't have to be anything," I said. He didn't answer, just kissed the back of my neck and held me until we both fell asleep. We kept doing that. Quiet nights, warm touches, soft kisses when no one was around. It was like we built a world that only existed behind our dorm room door. But then came winter break. He left early to go back home. Said he'd text. Said he'd miss me. He didn't text. When the new semester started, he was different, distant, friendly but colder. He didn't sleep in my bed anymore. Didn't touch me. He went out more, partied harder, started dating a girl from our psych class. I didn't ask questions. I didn't press. I just let it go. That semester was rough. I kept wondering if I'd done something wrong, if he regretted everything, if he hated me. Then, one night in April, I came back from studying late. He was sitting at his desk, headphones around his neck, just staring at the wall. "You okay?" I asked. He looked at me, eyes a little red. "I miss it," he said quietly. "Miss what?" "Us. You. That time when I didn't care what it meant." I sat on my bed. Didn't say anything. "I don't know who I am," he said. "But with you it felt safe." I didn't try to fix it. Didn't try to make him stay. I just nodded. That night we didn't kiss. We didn't cuddle. But he lay down on the floor next to my bed, close enough to touch, and whispered, "Thank you." The year ended. He moved out. We lost touch. A few years later, I saw him on Instagram, married to a woman, smiling, happy. I don't know if he ever figured it out, but I do know this: he was my first love. And I think, in some way, I was his.